how to determine the stability using this A matrix, okay? Because this is the system matrix, okay? And that is decided by the denominator of the transfer function. And as we know that roots of the denominator are the poles of the system, right? And system stability is only depend on the system poles, not on system zeros, because system pole define the characteristics of any system or any output, system output. Okay, that's why poles are important. And while doing any analysis, we are just considering the pole location, generally stability analysis. Okay, so let us see how to find out the stability using a state model and why it is need to find out using only the A matrix. Why not with the P and why not with the D? Okay, so let us see this transfer function formula. We just have formulated this, right? We just have derived it. So C into Si minus A inverse into B plus T. Okay. So as we know that Si minus A inverse is just the adjoint of Si minus A divided by the denominator. Determinant. Divided by determinant. Okay. So if you just simplify it, in a denominator, you got a determinant, right? So Si minus A matrix determinant. Okay, so we can say that if you want to find out the characteristic equation for this particular system, I can equate this determinant with the zero. Okay, because this is a denominator of this transfer function. Okay, so as you can see here, this determinant is equal to 0. So we can say that poles of the systems are the eigenvalues of a matrix A. Okay, poles of the systems are the eigenvalues of a matrix A. So let us see one example how to determine the poles of the system from the state model. So now the state model is given. Okay, so we only require A matrix, right? So this is the A matrix, this is the B, and this is the C. And they ask that find the poles of the system. So Si minus A matrix determinant we need to find out. So this is a Si matrix, this is the A matrix. You do the matrix subtraction, you got this matrix S minus 1, 20, S plus 9. Okay. Now I need to take a determinant of it. So I have taken a determinant here. Okay. I just taken a determinant. So if I take a determinant, I got this particular equation. So I can say that this is the characteristic equation, right? So what are the roots of this equation? Minus 4 and minus 5. So these are the poles. So similarly, the eigenvalues of this particular matrix are equal to the poles of the system, minus 4 and minus 5. So is this stable system? Which system is this? Stable or unstable? Is this system stable or unstable system? Hello? Is this stable or unstable system? Poles are minus 4 and minus 5.
Stable.
Stable system, right? Poles are lying in the right hand side of the S plane. Sorry, left hand side of the S plane, not a right hand. Okay. Minus 4, minus 5. Okay, stable system. So if they give you state space equations, you can determine the system stability like this. Just take a determinant of this and just find out the roots. Okay, equate it with 0 and find out the roots. So this is a stable system. Like this way, you can find out the stability of the system if they give you state equations. Okay, so let us see the solution of the state equations. Okay, so what is meant by the solution of the state equation? So that is a meaning. So if you see, we just need to find out the output here, or we can find out the state vector here. Now here there are two equations, like homogeneous equations and inhomogeneous equation. So solution will be different for homogeneous equation. a non-homogeneous equation. Okay, so what is mean by homogeneous equation? Where input is 0, right? U is equal to 0, 0 input response, right? So if you see the input equation, x bar is equal to ax plus bu. When u is 0, what will be the equation? X bar is equal to ax. So if you take a Laplace transform, convert into Laplace domain, so that will be s into x of s minus x0, x of 0. And this is in time domain. Huh? This particular x is in time domain. This particular x is in frequency domain, but this particular x is in time domain. So this is a time domain value, x of 0 is equal to a into x of s. Now why we have taken this initial value while converting into the Laplace domain? Because we need to find out what 0 input response means. There is a state is there, state is initially there, that's why we are getting a response at output. Okay, initial state is there, that's why initial state is important here. Okay, that's why I have taken that state. Now if you just simplify it, you will get, if you just simplify this particular equation, you will get si minus a into x of s is equal to x of 0. Okay, so just modify it. X of s is equal to si minus a inverse into x of 0. So by taking inverse Laplace transform, if you take inverse Laplace transform of this, so you will get x of t, solution of a state equation, x of t, right? Which will be equal to Laplace inverse of si minus a inverse into x of 0. This x of 0 is a time domain quantity. Important. Here I have mentioned, okay, that is important. This x of 0 is a time domain quantity. So this particular term, the Laplace inverse of si minus a inverse, is called as a pi t, okay, in a time domain, okay, pi t. So which is a state transition matrix, which is a state transition matrix, this term. Okay, so I can put equation like x of t is equal to pi of t into x of 0. So this will be my solution for homogeneous equation. So if you see the filter, if you see simple RC filter, use this filter. So Vi, V naught. Now I am not applying any input. Homogeneous equation, okay? I am not applying any input. Vi is 0 here. And what I am considering, this particular capacitor is storing some initial charge. So there will be some initial voltage across it. Okay. And because of that initial voltage, I am getting some output for some time. Okay. And what will be, so what is the state variable here? Vc, right? So what will be the Vc of t? What will the Vc of t? Pi of t into x of 0. What is the x of 0? Initial value. Initial value. What is the initial value? The initial capacitor voltage. Okay. So pi of t into Vc of 0. Right? In network analysis, you must have solved this examples like this. Okay. So like this way, the system is there. Homogeneous equation. We have not applied any input to the system. Okay. So this is the equation. This is important. X of t is equal to pi of t into x of 0. So this particular term pi of t is called as a state transition matrix. Okay. So let us see the state transition matrix. So pi of t is equal to this term. So I can represent this particular term like e raised to a into t, where a is a system matrix. Okay, a into t. So why I have put it like this? So if you see the term e raised to at into u of t, and if you just take a Laplace transform of it, that will be 1 upon s minus a. So that will be s minus a inverse. Okay. So here a term is a scalar, but here this particular capital A is a matrix. Okay. And if you just see the infinite series for this particular e raised to at term, so as you know that is a 1 plus at plus like this, okay? And if you just see e raised to at, so first term will be the identity matrix plus a matrix into t. So like this way, the state transition matrix is there. So now there are certain properties of the state transition matrix. Okay, what are those properties? Let us see, because on those properties they ask you simple MCQ questions. Okay, they may ask you. Okay, so if you see this, so this will be pi inverse of t. So what is the pi inverse of t? So as we know that pi of t is what? As we know that pi of t is what? E raised to at. So pi inverse of t will be e raised to at inverse. Okay, so that will be e raised to minus at. So I can represent this like a pi of minus t. So finally, pi inverse of t is equal to pi of minus t. Second property, pi of t1 plus t2. What is the value of this? So if you put e raised to a into t1 plus tt, so you can separate this term out. So you can separate their transition matrix also like this, pi of t1 into pi of t2, because e raised to at is pi of t only. Okay, so pi of t1 plus t2 is equal to pi of t1 into pi of t2. Let us see third property, pi raised to nt. Okay, so this will be e raised to a2 raised to n, so that will be e raised to a n t, so that will be pi of nt. So pi raised to nt will be pi of nt. So what is a pi of t is equal to 0? So that will be identity matrix. Okay, if you put t is equal to 0 in this term, so that will be 1. So that will be identity matrix. And the last property, if you take a differentiation of pi of t matrix, and if you just find out the value at t is equal to 0, that value will be equal to a. What is a here? A system matrix, right? So that value will be equal to system matrix. Okay. So we have seen homogeneous equation solution. Let us see inhomogeneous equation. What is meant by inhomogeneous equation? Now we are applying input to the filter. Okay. Force response. We are forcing the input. So what is the state equation here? X bar is equal to ax plus bu. We are applying input also. So that's why u term is non-zero here. So convert into the Laplace domain. S into x of s minus x of 0 is equal to a into x of s plus b into u of s. So if you just simplify it, and if you just take an inverse Laplace transform of it, you will get a solution like x of t is equal to e raised to at into x of 0 plus Laplace inverse of si minus a inverse into b into u of s, the overall term inverse. Okay, so if you see these two terms, so first term is the solution of the homogeneous equation, right? When the input is 0, so that's why it is called as a zero input response. Okay, e raised to at into x of 0. This is a state transition matrix. Okay. Now if we talk about the second term, so that will be zero state response. When state is 0, means capacitor initial voltage is 0. At that time, if you apply input, you will get this output. Okay, so this term is that zero state response. So let us consider example, so you will understand these concepts, how to find out the solutions. Okay, so let us consider one example. So here the example number 1 is there. Find the solution of state equation, and you also need to find out the state transition matrix and the output of the system when input is unit step. Okay, when the input is unit step. So when the input is unit step, you need to find out these things: solution of state equation, state transition matrix, and output of the system when the input is unit step. Okay. So equations are given, input equation is given and output equation is given. So here, so this will be the A matrix, this will be the B, this will be the C, and here this is a initial value. This is in time domain. Huh? This is the time domain values. Small x you can consider it as, okay. So x of 0 is given, x of 0 vector is given. Now we need to find out the solution to the state equation. Okay. So is this homogeneous system or inhomogeneous system? What will be the equation for this system? Homogeneous or inhomogeneous? You need to find out a solution for state equation. So inhomogeneous equation will be there or homogeneous equation will be there? Which equation will be there? Because we are applying the input, that's why this is an inhomogeneous equation will be there. So we need to find out inhomogeneous equation solution, okay, because input is also applied. B is a input matrix. If I don't give B here, B matrix, so you can, that whatever the solution you will find, so that will be the solution for the homogeneous equation when B matrix is 0, but here B matrix is given, na? Right? B matrix is given. So this will be the solution for inhomogeneous equation. So what formula we have derived? This one for inhomogeneous equation system solution. So x of t is equal to this particular term. So let us use that. So x of t is equal to e raised to at into x of 0 plus Laplace inverse of this particular term. Okay. So first we will find state transition matrix, that is e raised to at. Okay. So what is that? Laplace inverse of Si minus A inverse. So if you find out Si minus A, so that will be S minus 1, 0, minus 1, S minus 1. And what will be the inverse? Take an adjoint of it and divide it by determinant. So Si minus A inverse will be 1 upon S minus 1 into 0, 1 upon S minus 1 square, and the last term will be 1 upon S minus 1, right? So we got Si minus A inverse. So this thing we got. Multiplied by B and U of S. Okay. So what is the U of S? U of S is a input Laplace transform. What is the input? Unit step. So what will be the Laplace transform? What will be the value of U of S? That will be 1 by S. Because unit step input is there. No? So this will be the B matrix and this will be the U of S. Okay, and this will be Si minus A inverse term. So to find out this Si minus A inverse into B into U of S, so this term I will multiply this matrices. Okay, so what I will get? So I will get, after matrix multiplication, I will get 1 upon S into S minus 1 and 1 upon S minus 1 square. These two terms vector I will get. Okay, so from this solution term, I got this term. Okay, I need to take a Laplace inverse of it. So I have taken a Laplace inverse of it. So what you will do to get a Laplace inverse Laplace transform here, apply a partial fraction. So you will get this minus 1 plus e raised to t, and for this term t into e raised to t. I have just taken the inverse Laplace transform for these two terms. Okay, so I got this. Now which term is remaining? So I got this term. So this term is remaining. So e raised to at, which is the Laplace inverse of Si minus A. Okay, Si minus A inverse. Okay, that is a state transition matrix. So Si minus A inverse will be this 1 upon S minus 1, 0, 1 upon s minus 1 square and 1 upon s minus 1. So if you take a Laplace inverse of it, so that will be e raised to t, this term will be e raised to t, this will be 0, this will be t into e raised to t, and this term will be e raised to t. So this will be my state transition matrix, e raised to at into x of 0. What x of 0? What is x of 0? X of 0 they have given in the problem. So this will be the x of 0. So this will be the transpose of this vector 1 0. Okay. So x of 0 e raised to at into x of 0. So e raised to at into x of 0. This is the e raised to at matrix, and this is the x of 0 matrix. Okay. And this particular term we have already found it out. This is this. So if you do the matrix multiplication, so you will get this factor 2 into e raised to t minus 1, 2t into e raised to t. Okay. So you got a state equation. You got a state equation for inhomogeneous system. Now, if you want to find out output, so they have also asked about output now. Output of the system also they have asked. Output of the system. State transition matrix we have found it out. Solution we have found it out. So what will be the output? Output will be C into x of t, right? C into x of t. C matrix is this 1 1. What is x of t? This matrix. So if you do this particular multiplication, so you will get y of t as a 2 into e raised to t plus 2t into e raised to t minus 1. So like this way you will get a solution for the system. Okay. This is the output. This will be the output. This will be the output value. Okay. Output equation we can say in time domain. Okay. So like this way you can find out a solution of a state equation, output of the system, and the state transition matrix. So any doubt here? Any doubt? Okay. So let us see some examples. So you will get an idea that how to solve it using this concept. So example number 1. The state matrix for transfer function is given. We need to find out a state matrix for this particular transfer function. So there are 4 options like A, B, C and D. So if you see this transfer function, here you can see there are repeated poles. At my okay. So if you just see this, the first matrix here you can see. Here the first matrix is having the form diagonal canonical form. But here you can see even if the poles are repeated, here the first matrix is diagonal canonical form, but we are having the repeated poles, right? We are having the repeated poles, and this is not a correct way to form it, because Jordan canonical form we need to form it. So this should be -1. Here also 1 should be there. Then only it will be correct. So in this option you can see there are -1 is repeated pole. So -1 1 0 -1. So this particular form, this particular block is a Jacobian block, right? And this particular form is Jordan canonical form. So this will be the Jordan block. So this will be the Jordan block. We have seen in the previous lecture, right? So this will be the Jordan canonical form because poles are repeated. So this will be the correct option, okay? This will be the correct option. B is the correct option. Here in the previous lecture we have seen forms, Jordan canonical forms, like this way. Cases, different cases. If there are repeated poles, how we represent that block? Okay. So that thing only we have applied there. Okay, let us see the example number 2. The state transition matrix is given pi of t. So this will be the state transition matrix, and then we need to find out pi square of t. So we just use the state transition matrix property. So here you can see the state transition matrix property we just have seen. So pi square of t will be pi of 2t. Pi raised to n of t will be pi of nt. So if you see this, so pi square of t will be pi of 2t, right? Pi raised to n of t will be pi of nt. So pi square of t will be pi of tt. So pi square of t will be pi of 2t. Okay. So A will be the correct option. So pi of t is this. So pi of 2t will be this. Okay. So like this, on the properties of the state transition matrix, they will ask you a question like this. Let us see the state space representation of the. Let us see this example number 3. So now in this example, state space representation of the system is given. Its input equation is given and output equation is given. So here A is, this is the A matrix, this is the B, and this is the C, and D is not there. D is 0. And they ask, find out the transfer function of the system. Okay. Now, as we know, to find out the transfer function of the system, we know the formula. What is the formula? Transfer function is what? C into Si minus A inverse into B plus T. Is it right? We just have solved that formula. Just have finded that formula, no? So here, where that is, here that formula is there, right? C into Si minus A inverse into B plus T. Here D is not there, right? T matrix is not there. So T is 0, right? So now, so if you follow that procedure, first you will calculate this, then you will multiply matrix like this, okay? D is 0. So that is very long procedure, okay? If they ask you MCQ question like this, and they ask you find out the transfer function, in a competitive exam only they will ask like this. So if they ask you like this, even if they ask in any exam, find out the transfer function, you will follow the long procedure and you will solve all those things. So before following that, you just need to see, is this particular option is having the standard canonical form expression. So if you just see this, option D, so here you can see, if you see the A matrix, so A matrix, the second row is -3 -4. So if you see the denominator of this particular transfer function, so if I start traversing like this, so -3 -4, okay. So denominator and A matrix term will be same, but there are two options which is having the same denominator, option A and option D, right? Okay. Now let us see how the C matrix is defined. Okay, how the input matrix is also same, because here also two term is there, here also two term is there. We just have seen that particular controllable canonical form, no? So I am just applying that thing. In the previous lecture we have taken that. Where that is, okay, this form, right? So in this form, this particular denominator represent the last row of the A matrix, okay? This particular term represent the last row of the input matrix, and this particular numerator term defines the output vector, okay, when we traverse like this. So same thing we will apply here. Sorry. same thing we will apply here. Where that problem is? Here. Shortcut technique directly. So while taking the output vector, how we take? We start from this point and we keep the sign as it is. Okay, so 5 and 6. So here you can see the output vector 5 and 6. Okay, so 5 and 6 is there. But here, if you see the option 1, what is the output vector? 6 and 5. If you traverse like this, 6 and 5. But here, what is the output vector? 5 and 6. See, right? So this is the correct option. So like this way, you can directly apply a shortcut technique and just tick mark the correct answer. Okay. In GATE kind of exam, they may ask you question like this. GATE exam. So have you got the idea how to solve it? Any doubt here? Okay. Let us move to the next point. Even if you got doubt at any point, at any time, you can ask me. Okay, I will share these notes with you. Let us see the example number 4. Okay. So what is asked in the example number 4? They are asking that the state, what they are asking, we need to find the matrix here. Okay. The state transition matrix of a system whose state equation is given like this. So this is a homogeneous equation or inhomogeneous equation. X bar of t is equal to a into x of t. Is this homogeneous or inhomogeneous?
Homogeneous.
Good. This is a homogeneous equation, right? And they have given the state transition matrix, and we need to find out a matrix A. So here if you see what they have given, this is a pi of t. And we need to find out A, state transition matrix. Okay. So we can use the state transition matrix properties to solve this particular problem. So here pi of t is this. So if I take a differentiation of pi of t with respect to t, and if I put t is equal to 0, I get a matrix A. So this is the last property of the state transition matrix. Here we have seen that properties, this one. So this will be the last property. If you take a differentiation of a state transition matrix, and if you put t is equal to 0, you will get a system matrix. So that property I will apply here. Okay. So I have taken a differentiation. So for each term I will take a differentiation. So e raised to minus 3t differentiation will be minus 3 into e raised to minus 3t. Similarly, this term differentiation will be this. 0 differentiation will be 0, and this term differentiation will be this. Okay. Differentiation we have taken. So after that, what we will do? We will put t is equal to 0. So when you put t is equal to 0 here in these terms, so you will get minus 3, minus 2 plus 3, 0, minus 2. So what matrix you will get? System matrix minus 3, 1, 0, and minus 2. Okay. So like this way, you can solve this problem. Use just a property and solve it. So like this way, you can solve it. Let us consider the example number 5 now. Okay. A linear system is described by the following state equation. X bar of t is equal to a into x of t, where a is given and we need to find out a state transition matrix. Reverse thing. A is given, but we need to find out the state transition matrix. So what is the state transition matrix? Pi of t is equal to e raised to at. What is e raised to at? Si minus a inverse. Okay. So a is given. So this will be my Si matrix. Take a matrix subtraction. You will get Si minus a. And if you take a Si minus a inverse, you will get these terms. S upon a square plus 1, 1 upon a square plus 1, minus 1 upon a square plus 1, S upon a square plus 1. Okay, these 4 terms you will get. Now pi of t, that is inverse. Sorry, here inverse is there, na? So one thing is I forgot to mention here. So this will be Laplace inverse. Okay, Laplace inverse of Si minus a inverse. So Laplace inverse of SI minus A inverse. So if you just see it, if you just take a inverse of it, the first term is what? S upon S square plus 1. Okay. So this is a cos t if you take a inverse Laplace transform. So this will be cos t. 1 upon S square plus 1. So this will be sin t, right? Similarly, this will be minus sin t and this will be cos t. So this will be what? The state transition matrix of the system. So we have just used the formula here, nothing special. Okay, I'm just taken the inverse Laplace transform. So like this way, you can solve this example. So I have covered all possible examples related to this particular unit. Okay, this is very short unit and we have just covered it. Okay, so here we conclude this unit 5. This is very short unit. So I hope that you understood all these things. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Okay. So at this point, we conclude this unit 5. This is very short unit. That's why it get completed within less time. Okay. The state space analysis. Any doubt here? If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can move to the unit 6. Okay. Unit 6 is also very easy and very short. No doubts? Okay. So let us unit 6. Okay. 12:15 to 1:15. Do you have any lecture? 12:15 to 1:15. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a lecture 12:15 to 1:15?
Yes, sir. OOP is scheduled.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, 2 to 3, I think. Okay, we will see how much now. Only how many minutes are remaining? Okay, 20 minutes are remaining. Okay, we will see how much part get covered. Otherwise, this unit is very short. Between 2 to 3 we will cover. Do you have anything between 2 to 3? Hello. Today 2 to
No,
3.
sir.
Okay, we will cover in that particular section then. So it will be get covered. So the last unit is related to the controller. Okay. So up to this unit 5, we have just analyzed the system. Okay. We have done the time domain analysis. We have done the frequency domain analysis. Then we have done the state space analysis for those systems who are not, those systems are not linear systems, non-linear systems, right? So we have completed the analysis part up to this unit. Okay. Now this particular last unit, controller, is related to this. This unit consists of controller and in IoT application in the industrial automation. Okay, IoT application in the industrial automation. So first we will cover the controller part, and that IoT in industrial automation is very short part. Okay, so I will just that is very short. Okay, so we will cover that also. So what is the use of controller? Why we use controller in any control system? Okay, so let us see this standard block diagram. So plant, feedback, and controller. Okay, if there is a no controller, what is the effect on the system? So in general system, there is a control, there is a plant, and there is a feedback. We apply input and we get the output. Okay, so sometime what happens, if you develop any system, if you develop any plant, okay, or if you develop any circuit, digital circuit, okay, that may be a control system, sequential circuit, or if you design any system, if you design air conditioning system, for example, if you consider, if you have designed the AC, right? Now after designing, that is designing is very long process. You design the circuit, to search components for it, to analyze it. Okay, but what happens when you connect this system with the feedback system? Okay, any feedback system. Okay, or if that system is implemented on the physical side, so what will happen? The system conditions are different, right? So what we expected before the designing, okay, and after doing the simulation and all those things, but actually in the real world, if you connect that system, it will not behave as we have desired, okay, because of the environmental condition, or because maybe any condition, because of the components parameter variations, like if transistor, as you have studied in circuits, right? As the temperature conditions are get varied, the system's operating point, the transistor operating point, will be get varied according to the system's the temperature condition or any condition. Okay, so because of that, what will happen? We will not get a desired response. That is a one point. So we can't change the system now, right? We can't do anything with the system. We already designed it. Now, how to control the parameters, the performance parameter of the system? So we can control it by inserting the controller in the control system. So that will be other part than the plant. Okay. So with the help of controller, I will improve the time domain parameters. I will improve the time domain parameters of the system. Okay, control system. What are the time domain parameters? Like rise time, peak time, or settling time. How much time it will take to settle to the steady state, or within how much time the air conditioner will reach to the 25 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Celsius, or it is taking means a long time to, it is taking too much time to reach to the steady state. Like if I set the input to 25 degrees Celsius, it is taking like 1 hour, 2 hour, like that performance if you get. So how to optimize the performance, or how to optimize the time domain parameters? So with the help of controllers, we can optimize that time domain parameters. Okay. So that is a need of the controller. And what will be the input to the controller? Input to the control will be actuating error. Okay. So what is mean by that? So whatever the output you are getting from the feedback and whatever the input is there, right? Depending on that, there will be the error, right? So that error will be act as an input to the controller, okay? And depending on that controller will decide its output to control the plant, okay? To control the process. So that is the main concept here, okay? So let us see, when we change the damping of the system, when you put the controller into the system, what will be the effect on the damping, okay, and how that damping will affect on the system parameters. We just see that particular concept here before going into the actual controller implementations. Okay, so let us see the first point. If I change the damping ratio of the system, if I take a second order system, right? We have done the analysis for the second order system. We have found out the different parameters like rise time. This is what? Peak overshoot, damping frequency, right? Location of the poles and the settling time. Okay, so this is when these are the parameters: rise time, peak time, damping frequency, and settling time. Okay, so if you increase the zeta value, if you increase the damping, what will happen? If you increase the friction, if you increase the resistance, what will happen? So if you see, if you increase the damping, rise time will increase. So from this formula you can see, if you increase the damping, if you increase the value of zeta, rise time will increase. Peak overshoot will decrease. Okay, so peak will decrease, rise time will increase. Okay, damping oscillation frequency will decrease, omega d will decrease. Zeta is increasing, omega d will decrease. What will be the location of poles? Zeta into omega n is the pole location, right? If zeta is increasing, what will happen? If zeta is increasing, pole will be shifted to the left side, right? So if you see, okay, and this will be pole zeta into omega n. If I increase the zeta, what will happen? This pole will shift to the left side. If pole will shift to the left side, what will happen to the system stability? Hello? If pole will shift to the left side, what will happen to the system stability? System stability will increase or decrease?
Increase.
It will increase, right? System will become more relatively stable. If I increase the damping, system will become more relatively stable. Location of the pole will be to the left hand side, right? And what will be the settling time? Settling time will decrease because I am increasing the damping. Okay, so settling time will increase. So you have seen, even if we increase the zeta value, what are the effect on this particular parameters, time domain parameters, right? If the settling time will decrease, I will reach to steady state within less time. Air conditioner will set the temperature value, room temperature value within less time to the 25 degrees Celsius. If we apply 25 degrees Celsius as the input. So like this way, how the controller will affect on these parameters, we will see that. So the first or basic controller is the on-off controller, okay? The first controller, that is the on-off controller. So what is the on-off controller? So here you can see. Okay, so let us see. So as we have seen, input to the on-off controller or any controller is an error, okay? And U is the output here, okay? So now, what is the E? That is whatever the set point. So what is the set point? Whatever the desired input we are applying at this point, okay? So for example, if I am applying the set point 25 degrees Celsius, okay, to the air conditioning system. Now, what will happen? This will be the my desired point. SP will be my settling point, set point, 25 degrees Celsius. Here I will put. Okay. This is at 25 degrees Celsius. Now, what is mean by process value? Process value means whatever you are getting feedback. If you applied any sensor here in room, in your overall control system, there is one sensor which is measuring the room temperature, okay, and that sensor output is giving me that the room temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, this is my process value. And what is the error? The difference between these two. Okay, now on this difference, my controller output will get decided. On-off controller output will be get decided. Now, how output will be get decided? Here you can see. If the error is less than 0, if error is less than 0, this is only I have given the example. Okay, don't consider it as a, okay. So if error is less than 0, controller output will be 0%. I mean, in that condition, for that particular input, this controller will be off. Okay, 0% output it will give. And when error is greater than 0, it will give you the 100% output. Okay, means controller will be on. For example, now this is the controller. Okay. So this is the controller, on-off controller we can say. Okay. Now I have this error we are getting as the input to that controller. Okay. Right. This is a set point. This is the present value. And now I am using one actuator here. Or if I talk about any electronic circuit, or you can say I can use one switch here. And this is my plant, or this is my circuit, right? So what this particular on-off control is doing, right? So if this particular error is less than 0, at that time output will be 0%, and this switch will be off, and similarly this controller will be off. Okay, if error is greater than 0, what is this control is doing? So output will be 100%. So this switch will be on. Okay, and controller is also on, right? And the switch will be on. Example I am giving means There may be any complexes. This is I'm explaining at very basic level. Okay, so this switch will be on, and this switch will, or if you see if you use any actuator here, which is controlling anything, so that actuator will be on. That may be a switch. If electronic circuitry is there, that switch will be on like that way. Okay, so this is the basic thing here. But what is the disadvantage in this particular case? If you see, this is, no one use this controller nowadays. This is just a basic controller. Okay, so if you see, this is the set point I have decided. Okay, this set point I have decided. Now, for example, this set point is 25 degrees Celsius in this case, right? And this which color is white color waveform you are seeing now. Okay, so this waveform, right? This is my process value, and it is changing, right? It is changing. This is my process value. So in this condition here, when the process value is greater than, when process value is greater than the set point, that time error will be what? Error will be less than 0. That time system output will be 0%. Okay, and when process value is less than the set point, that time error value is positive. That time I am getting a controller output 100%. Here you can see. So before this point, I am getting a controller output 100%. So after, when this process value is greater than the set point, at that time I am getting a negative error, right? So what controller will do? Controller output will be 0%. Okay, so like this way you can see this transition. You can see these transitions. Okay, so here the controller output frequency is very high. Okay, so for example, if the controller output frequency is very high, what will happen? So this controller output will switch very fastly. Okay, it will switch very fastly. Now, whatever the transistor I'm using here, as a switch, it will operate at very high frequency. Okay, it will on off. So what will happen? If that frequency is very high, this switch will get damaged. Okay, so this switch will get damaged. So how to avoid this difficulty? That's the disadvantage of on-off controller. Okay, so how you will eliminate this particular disadvantage? Okay, so there is a concept called dead zone concept. Okay, or dead band also they call it. So there is a dead zone concept. So what is mean by dead zone concept? So instead of only putting the threshold value as a one single value, what they have done, the first level is set point minus hysteresis value. Okay, so there is particular hysteresis threshold, set point minus hysteresis, then set point line is there, and then set point plus hysteresis. So now in this concept, what they will do, controller output will be 0 when the process value is greater than set point plus hysteresis. Means if the process value is greater than this point, this level. Okay, and it will be 1 when process value is less than set point minus hysteresis. So set point minus hysteresis, this level. Okay, so we have decided the controller output threshold based on this level and this level. We have not decided based on SP level, set point level. Okay, so because of this, what will happen? If you see here, the controller output, when the process value is greater than SP plus hysteresis, at that time only the controller output will shift from 100% to 0%. Before this value, the controller output is 100%. So after set point plus hysteresis, it will go to the 0%. Okay, but now when it will go to the 0%, for the level between SP plus hysteresis and SP minus hysteresis, between this level, output will not get changed. Okay, when output will get changed, when the process value is less than SP minus hysteresis. Okay, so at this point only output will change. Between these levels, output will not change. So because of this, what will happen? The output switching frequency will what? Increase. Oh, sorry. Output switching frequency will decrease here, right? Switching frequency will decrease. Output switching frequency will decrease. So because of that, what will happen? This switch can operate correctly. Okay, or any device. I am just giving the example of switch. It may be an actuator which is controlling the plant, which is any what we can say plant component. Okay, so like this way, with the help of these three levels, with the help of these three levels, we can control the controller output. And this particular range where output is not changing, that is between these two ranges, right? So this particular band is called as a dead zone, okay, or dead zone, because in this particular range, output is not changing. Output is not shifting its value. Controller output is not shifting its value.